everybody. Welcome to Section 325 Podcast.
This is your second half. Here we go.
2024 NFL Wrap-Up Podcast Edition.
Yeah, hey, we're in overtime, just like the Super Bowl.
Second overtime ever in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it was a good game, I will say.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. I didn't like the outcome, obviously, but it was still a good game. I mean, you can't complain. A Super Bowl going into halftime. Close all the way through. And yeah, the Chiefs came on top. So,
do you hate Patrick Mahomes more?
I don't know. You know, it's kind of he's starting to become like the GOAT, Tom Brady. You either like the guy or hate the guy because he keeps winning. He's in my division, so yeah, I hate the guy.
You think about it, and everybody's like, "Oh, Bill Belichick, greatest coach ever," and he really won with Tom Brady. And Tom Brady leaves, he didn't win. And then you look at the Chiefs and Andy Reid, great coach. With Philadelphia, they had winning teams, made it to a Super Bowl, never won.
No.
They had a good quarterback.
They made it to a couple NFC championships,
McNabb.
Too. Yep.
And, so they always had good teams. But Andy Reid and the combination of Reid and Mahomes.
Yeah.
Wow. This is like, I
think those two are better paired than Belichick and Brady were. I honestly think.
Well, how do you just keep, I just don't get it. You've won multiple Super Bowls as a Bronco fan, but gosh, they're spaced out. They did win back-to-back. The last team to do it, or
no,
I guess the freaking
Patriots. The Patriots won it back-to-back back in 03 and 04.
The Seahawks almost did.
And then Broncos did it in 98, 99. So those were the last few. And then there was the Cowboys in the 90s and Niners in the 80s.
But how hard it is to win.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the fact that they went to 4 Super Bowls in 5 years and won 3 of them. I mean, just being to the Super Bowl in a couple of years is a great feat.
Yeah, the only team that could really say anything close to that. Well, I mean, obviously, besides the Patriots,
Buffalo
Bills. They went to 4 in a row.
Yeah,
and lost all 4.
It sucks that they lost, but it's impressive that they went 4 in a row. Because you can look at it, they won 4 AFC championships in a row.
Yeah, they did. They did. Nobody talks about that, and for as a Seahawk fan to really be a franchise starting in 1977 to 76,
I think,
and to not really be anything of relevance until Holmgren got there. We got to a first Super Bowl, lost that one. But once Pete Carroll got there, he changed everything, and then we became this dominant defense with this somewhat electric quarterback that was doing what Patrick Mahomes does.
Yeah, and that's kind of what Belichick did with Brady, and they had a great defense.
But we went to back-to-back Super Bowls, and you started becoming accustomed to it. And now what happens is just getting to the playoffs. Who cares? You need to be competing for Super Bowls. That's where it's at. And the Chiefs fans, you guys will deal with this as the Patriots are right now. You just get so spoiled, and their winning is a long span, so it's going to hurt even more for a while. It's going to be like, oh, this sucks.
Yep.
And Chiefs, you guys will be there someday. But Mahomes is still super young.
I'm hoping it's soon.
But how much fire can they keep going? Because Kelsey is a great tight end, but he can't keep playing.
Yeah, so with that, I mean, Mahomes is going to be around for a good 10 years or more. Kelsey, he's a tight end. He's at that age where he's going to start to come downhill a little. I mean, he can be a great Tony Gonzalez or anyone like that. But, look at Gronk. He retired pretty early. I mean, Gronk is only 33, I believe. And that's where Kelsey is right now. He's about 32, 33.
Mm-hmm.
So, his body can take so much. So yeah, in a few years, they're going to have to kind of reestablish themselves with, okay, a new tight end, maybe new receivers, which they are this year. They've had a good rookie receiver, Rice. So usually you see this a lot in a lot of teams, kind of like a turnover. Who's going to be the next guy to step in and step up? So, and that's where the NFL draft comes in and free agency and just how well teams can do this, not just the Chiefs, but how well they can proceed the offseason.
Yeah.
And
And that's where we're at. We're at the off season. The Super Bowl's done. I'm sure we have some stuff to go over
yeah,
with that, but
I mean, it's a long way to the next NFL football game.
28 Sundays. Is that where
28
you?
Sundays from now.
28 Sundays. You're getting all the information here on the podcast. This section 325 podcast.
Second half.
Second half. There we go.
But
so it was a great year. Wasn't it a weird year though? It was such a weird year.
Yeah, because at first, at the beginning, the first half, you're seeing the Bills lose. You're seeing
you couldn't predict games.
No, you couldn't. You see Cincinnati lose, and then
most parity
Chiefs were losing to the Bills as they were getting hot again, and then Chiefs lost to the Broncos for the first time and God knows when.
Nobody wanted to win the NFC South,
and yeah, that was up in the air for a while. But yeah, it was a fun year. We had a lot of scoregamis in there too. I don't have the numbers, but I think there was a good about 9 or so in there. I mean, we had a 70-20 football game. You don't never see 70 points.
No.
So unless you're in college, but
who got beat that bad? I know the Dolphins. Who they beat?
Broncos.
Oh, ouch. Well,
and again, no ties.
No ties this year. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So
let's talk about this quickly. The overtime of the game.
Yeah.
The rules. Does the NFL need to do what what college does?
I mean, I love college overtime. Well, hold on a second. But college overtime 2 years ago, because I guess the college overtime has now tweaked it a little bit, where when you get to the third overtime, you just automatically go for 2. It's just the first team to fail to get the 2 point.
Oh, I think that's good.
Yeah. So you get the first one, and then you get the second one, and then after that, it's just 2 point conversions.
Yeah, that's great.
It's great. It's fine. I do like the fact that both teams get a chance to score. They get the ball, unless the defense gets an interception and vice versa. So NFL should, I mean, what they're doing in the playoff picture as far as overtime goes, yeah, they're giving that the other team a second chance if the first team scores a touchdown. I mean, that's how I always see overtime in college. You should get a chance to do something if you can, but I knew the rules. Did you not hear that some of the Niner players didn't know the overtime rules?
Well,
I honestly
I was on the cruise ship, right?
Yeah.
And I'm talking to a guy that said even the 49ers coach was talking about how the fans are super cocky and that they have horrible fans, basically. I didn't hear the coach say this, but I'm hearing this from a guy who's a Niner fan.
Yeah.
And I would admit that the Niner fans, you guys are a little cocky. When it's rolling, we hear you. And when it's not, you're very quiet. And it's been real quiet since the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And with the fact that their players didn't know, it's just kind of like their fans, right? You're cocky when you're winning, and when you lose, you got nothing.
And to me, I don't believe the whole, I didn't know that, both teams get the ball or have it shot with the ball.
How are you not prepared?
How are you not prepared? Way? Yeah, that's the third playoff game. You've already played a divisional game. You already played the championship game, and now you're playing the Super Bowl. There are meetings that come to that coaches get together and say, hey, if we get in this situation, what should we be doing here? Yeah. It's been talked about. The coaches at least knew. It's their fault for not informing their players.
They didn't talk to the one fullback on the team. Everybody else knew.
Yeah, so that's just maybe not at the time in the moment. You're not thinking about that, but Yeah.
Well, how many Super Bowls did Mike Shanahan, lose before he won back-to-back?
Well, Shanahan came into Denver in the late '90s, and then just like a year or two later, had won
Okay,
the
so he
back-to-back.
didn't lose any.
No, he was because he was an offensive coordinator with the Niners beforehand.
So what do you do with a guy that gets you to Super Bowls but can't win? Do you just keep him as coach? Because you know how impatient these NFL
Well,
owners are.
so you say that, but if you look at Andy Reid when he was with the Eagles, I mean, sure, I guess he got let go from the Eagles, but again, went to a Super Bowl, went to a few NFC Championship games, lost or didn't win anything. Yeah, do the Niners keep him? I mean, it's two Super Bowls now in the last 4 years you've been to.
I mean, I would.
I would. I mean, right now they still have a great team. I'm sure a lot of players are going to be returning. I don't know the
We just talked
contracts.
about how hard it is to get there.
Yeah, I mean, I can see them getting there again. I probably would have them at my top favorite for the
Well,
time
yeah,
being.
Brock Purdy's going to have another year under his
Yeah,
belt. They still got some defensive guys coming back.
yeah.
They're going to have to get pretty
McCaffrey will still
smart
be
with the
there.
cap, though.
Yeah, they will be. I don't know
How you can pay all those guys.
Yeah.
The good news is they won't have to pay Brock for another year or two.
Yeah, that's true.
So
I mean, there are
there's
some.
still going to be a top team out there.
Yeah, there's still some WNBA players still being paid more than Brock Purdy.
That's disgusting. Can you name one WNBA player?
No.
Yeah, me neither. Sorry, ladies.
Sorry.
All right, well, let's get into it. Let's see what you have for us today.
All right. Well, who do you have? You had the Niners, huh?
No, I picked the Chiefs. You picked the Niners. So
they won.
I win. I won something. 2024 offseason schedule. Here we go.
So
NFL Combine's coming up.
Yeah,
quickly.
So 28 weeks till NFL kickoff, and it kicks off week 1 or week 2 or 3, whatever, here in a few weeks. The NFL Combine. It's fun to watch. I like to watch the 40-yard dash.
Yeah, see the fast guys.
Yeah.
And, I definitely like to watch the receivers, see who's got the hands coming out of the. Those are always good. The rest of it, like.
True.
But
But what we're gonna do with this off-season schedule, now that we don't have weekly picks to choose from and see what's going on during the season, we'll come to you maybe once or twice a month, maybe prior or before or after these events. So Columbine, we'll do. That'll probably be our next podcast, just so you
maybe
viewers
break
know.
down the top player at each position.
Yep,
that'd be fun to do.
And kind of do maybe a mock draft on our side.
Maybe our teams.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, let's build a roster.
Yeah, let's build a roster.
Okay.
We could be the GMs for our teams.
Well, there's no doubt I could do a good job. No doubt.
I'm pretty good on Madden.
Yeah. So February 29th to March 3rd, I'm assuming they're going to be in Indianapolis again.
Yeah, I don't think they've ever done it anywhere else.
Which is weird. I wonder why they picked there. Because it's indoors? Or
indoors, maybe. It was the first nice indoor stadium in a while, I guess.
And nobody else wants to be there, so there's plenty of hotel rooms available?
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
Ask Google.
Free agency begins March 13th. Let's see what's going to happen with Russell Wilson.
Yeah. I mean, there's talk. I know a few days before you can kind of start the buzz as far as who's going to be available or who's going to get cut. But yeah, March 13th is the start.
Yeah, he's going to be a Raider.
I think
they released Garoppolo, who was taking medication he didn't have a prescription for.
I honestly think he can go to, where did Dan Quinn go again?
Oh, Commanders.
Yeah, Commanders. Yeah, I think he might go there. That's my bet. That's my early bet.
Let's all say goodbye to Russell Wilson as we knew him.
And he can ride on
in the sunset.
Yeah.
Good knowing you, Russell. Thanks for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Annual league meeting, March 24th and 27th, where all the coaches and GMs all meet up.
Yeah, they meet up and discuss. And owners. They all meet up, discuss certain rules. I'm sure new concussion protocols will be in place. Kickoff, that's always a changing rule in the game.
I would love to see them do a quick instant replay on any pass interference play.
Yeah, they did try that for a little while.
Did they? I don't remember this.
It was like 2 years ago,
Huh.
3 years ago,
I think
and it was just. I mean, coaches could challenge it. I think what it was, but it was just kind of like
I remember that. Yeah, they could challenge it.
Yeah, they can challenge it.
But they should just review it and let a ref make the decision. Because man, sometimes it's little ticky tacks, or it's the opposite. The guy gets tackled, they don't make, and it's ridiculous.
So yeah, that's where a lot of those decisions are made in those meetings.
I think we should just bring the replacement refs back at this point,
so you can get a Fail Mary.
NFL draft, probably the biggest thing in the offseason. They started on a Thursday and ended on a
Saturday. I think it's just 3 days.
Yeah, but
first round Thursday, second, third round Friday, and then the rest
I went to my first NFL draft party this last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Seattle had 2 first-round picks, so
yeah,
that was exciting.
I had a NFL party one time, or NFL draft party one time. It was when Tim Tebow got drafted by the Broncos, and I think we picked Von Miller first. We had the second pick, and then we had like a 27th pick or something, and that's when we picked Tim Brady, or not Tim Brady, Tim Tebow.
Tim Brady.
went to high school with a Tim Brady that was our quarterback. So that's
okay. I don't know.
Anyway, yeah, Tim Tebow.
Tim Tebow, not to be confused.
Not to be, yeah. Anyway, I just remember he got drafted, and I just walked right out. I was not impressed right away, and then told my friend I will be happy if he wins a playoff game.
And he did. Overtime, right?
Overtime, yeah.
Yeah, to your Thomas, the receiver, rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, he passed away this
and
last
number
year.
88. He's on the first ballot for the next previous year.
He was a very good wide receiver. I remember.
He may not make it, but
I do remember really my man Chancellor setting the tone in the Super Bowl and hitting him pretty good.
Yeah.
Cam, Bam Bam. I did wear his jersey on the cruise ship because I needed to represent a Super Bowl. And I thought, who better to wear than Chancellor?
Perfect.
So I wore that on the ship loudly and proudly. And Niner fans wouldn't say a word to me except for 2 guys that were talking to me. And it was a good conversation. And I said, I'm not rooting for you guys. And he said, why not? I said, because you guys have been whooping our tails the last couple of years. And he goes, well, you were whooping our tails a few years before that. And I said, that's true. And what comes around goes around in the NFL, and sometimes you're at the top.
It's fun to kind of bicker back and forth with other fans.
It's a great sport.
I mean, my father-in-law's wife, she's a Chief fan, so yeah. I'm not gonna say anything next time I see her. So yeah, I'm hoping she doesn't.
I wouldn't talk to her.
Sorry, Sid.
So April 25th through the 27th in Detroit this year. Yep. The Lions having a great season, coming up just short to get to the Super Bowl, which is disappointing. I'm sure they're going to be a good team this next year.
Yep, and probably the top 5 at least for me.
And then the NFL schedule release.
My favorite is Seahawks
are playing Denver, and somebody already reached out, wants to purchase the game from me.
Oh, really? Well, that's too bad.
For big money.
What was it? Me? Oh, for big money, huh? Money.
So get your checkbook ready. NFL schedule release early May. It's hard to ever say. They would kind of redo the dates on that every year.
Yeah, it's usually about 2 weeks after the draft because I think they already have an idea of the schedule at the time of draft, and then it usually depends on who drafts who. And, that might maybe be a primetime game because Caleb Williams went somewhere, and they might want to change that matchup, later in the season or early on, or have it a early primetime game. So they have an idea during the draft, but I think they just kind of tweak it up.
Or Justin Fields gets traded to the Atlanta Falcons and ends up playing against Caleb Williams.
Yeah, exactly. And then all of a sudden that game is a high
What do you think the Bears are going to do? They have options. I
do have options.
Someone's really great ideas. They said that somebody else was in that position, ended up keeping both quarterbacks and letting Fields keeping him playing, having Caleb on the bench.
Yeah.
And that ended up really working out for the team. I can't remember the two quarterbacks, but when he was talking about it, the sports guy, I was like, oh, wow, that's a different approach, right? That
Mm-hmm.
they ended up keeping both guys and still drafting the Caleb Williams or whoever that was at that time. But
Yeah, I've heard scenarios where they trade Fields, but then also they just keep him because Fields had a great year. He struggled because he was pressured a lot, so they might want to fix the offensive line. Their defense didn't, hold out too much very well, so they might have
okay,
to
so
work on
you're the
that.
GM. We just talked about being GMs. You're the
Oh,
GM of the Bears. You've got Justin Fields. You have a number one draft pick. Are you bringing in another quarterback? Or are you like, I'm going to protect this guy who I believe can win and who I
yes.
drafted already, number one?
What I would do, I would keep Fields. I've seen Caleb Williams maybe in the 2 games I watched this year because they played against Notre Dame. He gets scared, I think, in the pocket, so he doesn't do well. So I wouldn't want that, especially if Fields is already being pressured. I would fix the offensive line and the defensive
Have
line.
you seen him throw the laser darts when he's scared, though? He can put the ball wherever he wants when
Yeah,
he's
that was
real.
early in the season, I felt like.
Yeah, I think he slipped a little bit. I think that
Yeah.
he was frustrated with the losing. So that
Mm-hmm.
could be a thing to look at, too. You want
Yep.
to.
Well, and the thing is, too, a lot of college players, especially players that are coming in from like Alabama or USC, Notre Dame, or all these schools that keep always win. When you get in the NFL, you lose. Like you just gotta understand that there's going to be a lot of games where you're going to lose.
It's a different beast in the
It
NFL
is
compared to college.
because yeah, you're used to having this like 13-1 team. You'll be lucky to be on the team that goes 10-7.
Well, and that's why sometimes you get like a Brock Purdy. You didn't play at a major school, who's
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Irrelevant, and then you've got a guy like we'll say Justin Fields, for instance, who played at Ohio State, was a stud, and played in the playoffs, and had a chance to win a national title, and just lit it up in college, right?
Yeah.
So you get to the pros, and Fields, he's done some nice things, but he's struggled. Purdy comes in, and where did all that come from? So all these guys are athletes. They all have talent. It's really what's upstairs.
Yep.
It's between the ears.
Well, and it could be the other way around too with Patrick Mahomes. A lot of players. I think it was the year when Chicago drafted Nick Trubisky. Yeah, they had a chance to draft Mahomes, but they failed to because they they were scared of him because he has this sideways throw at times, and a lot of GMs don't want to risk on that apparently. Whatever, but yeah, they went with Mitch
Well,
and
I think that just as Russell Wilson kind of changed how people were drafting quarterbacks. I mean, look at the Cardinals. They brought in somebody even smaller
yeah,
who could move around and throw the ball and was a baseball kind of guy. Patrick Mahomes was also a baseball guy. His dad was played in the majors.
yep,
So I think that Patrick's definitely going to change. And Caleb reminds me of Patrick Mahomes,
yeah,
Caleb Williams. He's Patrick Holmes esque.
yeah.
Anyway, okay, moving on. Oh yeah, OTAs.
OTAs.
Who's showing up? Who's not? Who thinks they're bigger than the game?
Who's holding out?
Mm-hmm. Training
And then
camps.
training camps.
I'm gonna try and go to training camp this year.
You
I,
are?
I told Levi Gurno we could go over together,
Yeah.
so we're gonna check it out.
I think, and also during training camps is when Hard Knocks is filmed.
Who they got this year?
They look at different criterias on who can be in it. So if you have not been in the playoffs in the last 2 years, you have not been on the Hard Knocks in the last 10 years, and you don't have a new head coach. So Denver actually fits those 3 categories.
Wow.
So Denver could be on Hard Knocks, and I think Sean Payton kind of hinted it out that he wouldn't mind doing it because a lot of players
Russell's going to be upset. He can't get all that attention.
Because a lot of players they say it's a distraction or something, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, well,
Hard Knocks.
Notable sports schedules.
Yeah.
March Madness. Who's excited about that?
I love March Madness.
Yeah. Zach's not even playing their best basketball right now. So let's see if they can win the WCC tournament.
Let's see if they may make it through the second round. You think?
Well, I don't know.
You don't? Okay.
Well, no, I don't know. This year's a little different.
Any baseball fans out there?
Yeah, March 28th, opening day. If you're down in Arizona right now watching some games,
oh yeah,
that's good for you. The Masters. Now Jim Nance is not calling it for the first time in years. It's moved to ESPN.
Oh,
it's not on CBS anymore.
Why?
ESPN, I think, owns the rights, and I think that's why he's not doing it.
Okay.
So he said he was calling his last Masters last year. So it's not it's still a tournament unlike any other, but it's one of the best tournaments. Who wouldn't want to play that golf? Would you think they'd let you play with your game out there?
No.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
I don't even know if I.
I'd be hitting too many divots, and yeah, I mean they're greens, and yeah, I would not be invited.
You never know.
Yeah.
Not with that old club that you like to use.
I got rid of them. Remember?
You did?
Yeah. Well, I didn't get rid of them, but I'm not playing.
You're not playing with that wood anymore. That old wood.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a real wood.
It's older than my dad.
That's old. Yeah. I hope you're watching. The Summer Olympics are in Paris this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I love watching track and field. When I grew up, Carl Lewis was winning multiple medals. I think he won 5 gold medals in the 84 Olympics, or 88 was one of there, but I think it was 84. It was Los Angeles. And I love watching track and field.
Yeah, I love run. The relay. Man, that's so quick. The 4x1. I also like the team sports.
Flag football going to be in it this year?
Not this year. It's the next Summer Olympics, so 2028.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah. And I think golf is going to be part of the Summer Olympics here soon too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So, what happened to Tiger Woods? I got some report. There's an ambulance. He had to get out of the tournament. What happened?
I don't know. Was he part of the Waste Management Open?
No. There was another tournament over the weekend, and I heard that he had to withdraw. And then there was an ambulance, but I couldn't get service, in and out service. So
I don't know if you guys out there watch golf, but the Waste Management Open was basically a college frat party.
Well, it's always been that way. It's something that
it got too intense. They just opened up the doors, and the ticket holders couldn't even get everyone's tickets, and
the weather was pathetic too.
Yeah, and they had to stop serving alcohol at 2 because everyone was already wasted.
I heard how much beer that is sold at that tournament.
Really?
It is
maybe they ran out.
Stupid. It is stupid.
Notice I didn't put any NBA finals in there.
Who cares? When LeBron retires, come hit me up. I'll start watching again. Yeah. Bring our Sonics back. How could I support a league that took away my team? Shame on y'all.
Yeah.
Anyway, I did hear Charles Barkley and Draymond going at it. And Charles Barkley was talking to Draymond at the All-Star game, and he's saying, listen, I had a guy tell me one time, everybody already knows who you are. Don't waste your money on cars, right? He goes, I drive a Kia. Charles Barkley said he drives a Kia. He goes, I'm not going to go buy no $30,000 bag to put my dirty clothes in. And then Draymond's like, what'd you pay for that suit? And he goes, about $1,000. And he goes, looks like it. And they all start laughing. And Charles is like, you know what's funny about that? You know who was asking about you the other day? And Draymond's like, who? He goes, nobody. Oh my gosh. I thought that was a perfect comeback.
I heard a comedian. He had a good joke about Charles Barkley. Nothing bad, but it was, how he was in Space Jam with Michael Jordan back in the 90s. The comedian was asking, what did it take for Michael Jordan to convince Charles Barkley to join him in this Space Jam movie where he's the bad basketball player playing against the Martians? And he goes on and is like, hey, Michael, I gotta take another call, man. I can't make a decision right now. I'll just talk to you later. picks up the phone. It's like, hell, hey, Shaq, what's up? Yeah, I got this movie, man. Kazam. Remember Shaq?
No.
Or yeah, Kazam with Shaq. Yeah, and so Charles hangs up on Shaq. He's like, all right, Michael, I'll do it.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
By the way, Charles Barkley was on my boat last summer.
That's right. I think you did tell me that.
He wasn't actually physically there, but my buddy Big Frank went to Tulane University, and there was a couple of his professors in town from his college that he said, "Hey, let's go out on your boat, like to show them Coeur d'Alene Lake." So we went out, really nice ladies, and we went out, and this gal, one of them knew Charles Barkley, and she called him up and was talking to him on speakerphone, and that was pretty cool. So there you go. Closest I'll probably ever talk to Charles Barkley. I've always liked Charles Barkley because he always just says whatever, and he's funny about it.
Yeah,
I think he's a pretty smart guy.
Same with Shaq.
Shaq is.
I mean,
I would like to
he
hang out with those
beer
two
pong
guys
here in Coeur d'Alene a couple of years ago. So
I would love to hang out with those two guys. So funny.
So
anyway, that's our show for today.
Yeah, it is.
We're looking forward to the off season. We'll be coming at you here and there, but when the season starts, we'll be back at it week after week after week, discussing this great game that we all love, and that's the NFL.
It is. It's going to be a slow, sad off season. I miss football already.
I just looking forward to being out on my boat smoking cigars. That makes me feel better about missing.
Yeah, that's true.
Game. But anyway, this is Section 325 podcast.
Second half.